With less than 2% of the world's COVID-19 vaccines administered in Africa, there are growing calls for the continent to be allowed to produce its own vaccines to meet demand. But does it have the capacity to manufacture its own vaccines? Here's CGTN's Robert Nagila with more.
As debate rages on intellectual property waivers for COVID-19 vaccines, developing countries, especially in Africa, are pushing to be allowed to manufacture the vaccines. But some developed countries and pharmaceutical companies dismiss the plan, arguing few countries on the continent have the capacity to produce the vaccines. Can Africa produce its vaccines with a patent waiver? Yes, says South Africa.
It is for this reason that South Africa and India proposed the TRIPS waiver at the World Trade Organization to enable manufacturing of COVID-19 vaccines in developing countries.
According to the World Health Organization, there are fewer than 10 manufacturers in Africa with vaccine production capabilities in 5 countries: Egypt, Morocco, Senegal, South Africa and Tunisia. But waiving intellectual property rights on vaccines is not enough.
It's also important to remember that intellectual property waivers will need to be accompanied by transfer of technology and know-how for this difficult-to-make vaccines.
And that is just the beginning.
It's all about enable, enable, enable.
Health experts say for Africa to produce its own vaccines, a coordinated effort of all factors is required with a commitment from its partners.
And then a clear agreement that not only are the patents waived, but also the supply of the reagents for making the vaccines, and then enable the setting up of plants.
But the continent is not waiting. Last month, the African Union launched the Partnership for African Vaccine Manufacturing. It seeks to support 5 regional production sites over the next decade, mobilize financial partnerships and facilitate technology transfer. It also plans to develop African universities into vaccine research and development hubs. Robert Nagila, CGTN, Nairobi, Kenya.